Welcome back to another episode of Light Beer, Dark Money. I'm Sean Noble.
And I am Chris Clements.
And it has happened.
We are on day number 2 of the persecution of Donald J. Trump.
It's been about 48 hours, maybe a little bit more than 48 hours since the arraignment of Donald J. Trump, the former president.
Indictment?
Well, he got indicted, but I think this was technically the arraignment, right?
It was the arraignment. He looks so solemn. He looks so sad.
Given the raised fist as he's going.
I don't think so. I think it's all going according to his plan.
Well, so
I mean, I don't want to be cynical, but
here's where I am.
He raised what, $10 million over the course of a week?
Yeah.
Like, okay, well,
yeah.
And I still question whether he's really running.
Do you?
I do.
Yeah,
I just do.
I mean, I could see that.
I read a really sad in the New York Post, really sad article about his wife, who's just often, Never Neverland, not participating in any of this.
I was going to say she was not by his side during this.
And I don't really feel like his kids are really behind any of this. And I just have this. It's my gut feeling of just observation. I don't have any empirical evidence to back this up, but it just feels like it's just one big way to raise a bunch of money.
And he's kind of on his own island.
Okay. I thought the arraignment and the indictment is ridiculous. I mean, I just don't think it was even worth doing. I don't know why they're doing it. They're trying to tie it to a second crime. They haven't tied it to a crime. And this is the cynic in me. If this is the standard by which we are going to indict politicians, then half of Congress is going to get indicted. There's somebody quoted some stat the other day, and I have to look it up, but there's been literally tens of millions of dollars set aside by the House of Representatives for paying off stuff like this.
Well, I mean,
settlement costs.
Settlement
costs.
Settlement costs. Well,
it's unbelievable. And
this is a prosecutor who won't prosecute armed robbery as a felony.
Oh, New York is going to hell in a handbasket.
Yeah, I mean, it's following
in terms
a lot
of
the
crime.
Big cities.
I mean, 40, 50, depending on the statistic that you look at. We were going to go to New York for spring break, and I was looking at how Eric Adams is moving a bunch of homeless refugees into hotels down in Times Square.
Oh, wow.
And I said, no, that's just a recipe for disaster. Yep. I don't need to be wanting to go into the M&M store thinking that's still there, or going to a show and be looking over my shoulder for somebody who wants to rob me. Yeah. That's not fun.
Well, I think, look, as listeners of this show know, I am not a fan of Donald Trump.
No, we are not never Trumpers or forever Trumpers.
But this charge is ridiculous. There are more serious issues that he faces. This document stuff with him taking sensitive documents out of the White House when he left, and that's an issue that still has. There's a special prosecutor that we don't know what's going to happen there, and the issue of injecting himself and trying to find votes in Georgia. That investigation continues. Those are much more serious issues than hush money payments for, some alleged affair that he still denies. Which nobody believes in.
Nobody believes that. And nobody believes his denials on Karen McDougal, who's also mentioned in the indictment. So nobody believes that. However, it's the big so what, there's no crime here.
No.
And I think in the broader scope, the argument that we've opened up Pandora's box is absolutely true. To do a perp walk with a former president, whether you agree with him or disagree with him or like him or hate him, it doesn't really matter. What it does to the country is horrendous. And now you're going to have Republican AGs, Republican DAs across the fruited plain looking at the Bidens, looking at the Clintons, and trying to find something to indict them all in.
Okay, so
and that will begin to happen, I believe.
See, and I would argue that that's exactly the wrong approach.
I'm not saying that it's right. And
if there's a Republican law enforcement, an AG or DA or whatever. I mean, Rachel Mitchell, our county attorney.
Yeah.
She should not get involved in the business of witch hunts.
And neither should Alvin Bragg.
I agree, but my point is that two wrongs don't make a right, and I would hope that Republicans don't do that. Because, for God's sake, they should be about the rule of law. And this is outside the scope of the rule of law, in my opinion.
This case should be summarily dismissed. It should definitely be moved out of New York. I mean, the judge is completely compromised.
Well, I don't know if the judge is compromised. I don't know enough about
He is compromised. He's ruled on Trump issues before with the Trump organization, and his own family are Democratic operatives. The case should be moved out of New York.
Well, I mean,
in order for Trump to at least get a decent trial, if it even comes to that, which it shouldn't.
I agree. It shouldn't go to trial. I don't know about venue change. It just shouldn't go to trial. But anyway, the frustrating thing for me is that it is just continues the circus and clown show of stuff that doesn't matter.
Well, it achieves a couple things, especially for the Democrats. It elevates Trump into the limelight above, the fact that a Chinese weather balloon actually, conducted spying on our most secretive facilities. And no one's talking about that. No one's talking about inflation now. No one's talking about the war in Ukraine. What's everybody talking about? Trump's indictment.
So
and his poll numbers have shot up, which is which the cynical argument is that that's what Democrats want. They want to run against Trump. They don't want to run against DeSantis because they know they can't win.
Okay, so here's
that, and that's the narrative.
Yeah. Well, here's the sad wake up call that the Democrats are going to find, and it's going to slap them in the face.
Okay, you heard it here first.
If Donald Trump is the nominee for the Republicans, and Joe Biden is the nominee for the Democrats,
provided Joe Biden is able to,
or Kamala,
or Kamala,
or Joe Biden, Trump will win. I think what they have done.
Wait. Hold on. Do you hear that? He thinks Trump was.
Really? If he gets the nomination.
If he gets the nomination. Right now, he's on.
Yeah.
60, 70%.
What the Democrats have done is they've basically made it so that
made
Trump
him a martyr.
They've made him a martyr, and he's going to be the next president. If he's going to be the next president,
he could be serving from jail.
Well, maybe, but
now there's those other things that you brought up. I mean, the document thing in Mar-a-Lago. I mean, that would have been Merrick Garland's path to indicting him until Joe Biden was found with documents in his garage.
Yeah, this got really screwed up. There's no question.
That was the plan.
But my point is that because they led with this indictment, it minimizes all future indictments. And there are people, which it blows my mind, but it's true that they have now, they've been people who have never voted for Trump, who have now said, if he's the nominee, I'm voting for him.
And it's because you have people like, I'm just reading from National Review, Andrew McCarthy, a full-on never Trumper. The byline on his column 2 days ago, what a disgrace. And this was, it's always possible to be surprised. The indictment brought by Manhattan's elected Democratic district attorney Alvin Bragg against Donald Trump is even worse than I'd imagined. That's Andy McCarthy.
Yeah.
Who's like one of Trump's biggest critics.
Yeah.
And then, some of his largest, Jeb Bush.
Right.
Jeb Bush comes out and says, this is outrageous.
Marco Rubio.
Ted
Cruz.
Yeah. Well, Ted will fly wherever Ted wants to fly.
Well, the point is
actually
that
Ted's podcast gives a really nice analysis of what can come next.
Yeah.
You know,
So
if you ever listen to
the point is that Bragg's the DA Bragg, who, you know, the cynical side of me says this was just 100% him promoting himself. That he's insured whatever electoral politics and Democrat.
Well, he ran on this. He ran on this very thing.
Yeah.
That
So
he ran on this idea that I know how to go after the Trump organization. I've sued them before. I sued the government as I was assistant AG. I know what to do. The issue with this indictment, if you want to even call it that, is that every single entity that could have brought this indictment passed on it.
Yeah.
The Justice Department passed on it. The Federal Election Commission said there's no crime here. Everyone passed on it.
Yeah.
And and now he's tying it to some unseen, unknown, unwritten crime that he won't even reveal. That just leads to a dismissal.
Yeah.
This idea is to keep Trump elevated so the Democrats don't have to talk about anything else.
Well, the crazy thing is that the timeline on this is also very interesting because the next thing doesn't happen until
December 4th.
December.
Yeah.
So that's after the first, 2 or 3 debates of the Republican primary. It's a couple months before the first vote.
Well, Iowa is January, right?
End of January.
Yeah,
You've got New Hampshire right after that.
South Carolina and the rest.
Right. This whole thing is just, oh my gosh. So,
yeah,
good job, Democrats.
Just when you thought we were
handed the White House back.
Well, just when you thought we could turn the page, and this didn't need to happen.
No.
We have bigger things to worry about in this country,
100%.
like Kid Rock blowing up Bud Light.
What?
You didn't see that?
I didn't see that.
Yeah, there's a video out there of Kid Rock with his AR-15 shooting up Bud Light.
This doesn't have anything to do with this, just trans.
This Dylan Mulvaney.
Dylan Mulvaney.
Yeah, have you seen the video?
Is Dylan a girl?
No, it's a boy, a man.
You can't say that she's not a girl. You can't
wanting
say she's
to
not
be a girl, and he's pretty sexist.
But she identifies as a woman.
He identifies as a woman.
So she's a woman.
No, don't work that way. Sorry.
Well, I'm just trying.
Anyway, that's there are wholesalers across the fruit plain who are getting taps yanked and angry people.
Yeah, I don't think that was a very smart move on Bud Light's. But I've got to believe. Okay, let's actually have a serious conversation.
You want to have
about market share? Okay.
Yeah.
How many men who are identifying as women? So, is that a trans woman?
Yes.
Okay.
That's
How many
correct.
trans women are there?
I have no idea.
And how many of them drink beer?
I have no idea.
And how many of them drink Bud Light? The
very
numbers
few.
have got to be pretty damn minuscule. So one, trans women are more likely to drink beer probably than trans men, right? Because men are more likely to drink than women, and so if a trans woman is formerly a man. Okay. But if you're a trans
But still
woman,
biologically a man.
right? But if you're trying to be a woman,
I'm confused.
If you're trying to be a woman, don't you drink like sparkly wine and rosé?
Well, if you're a man trying to portray himself as a girl, you probably shouldn't be drinking at all.
Why is that?
Well, you'd be underage.
Well, okay. So a woman.
He thinks he's a little girl.
A little girl?
A little girl.
Wait. He identifies as a little girl.
Yes.
That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, he did this whole thing about Eloise and all this weird stuff. Yeah. Yeah, so I don't understand the whole thing.
Well,
I don't understand
how
how
old is this
we got to
person in
this
real
point.
life?
I have no idea. I don't.
But older than 18.
Probably.
Or even 21, so drinking age.
Yeah, perhaps. Well, he'd have to be on the do something for Bud Light and for him and for them to sponsor him. So,
but
I mean, when I was in the industry, the Anheuser-Busch always did actually a really good job with the alphabet soup sort of constituencies, but they kept it in the back burner. Pride Week, which is now turned into a month, but it was a week, and we had to do things for that week, and that was fine.
Right.
the way this is blown up into contemporary society and the way they are blowing it up in the manner that they are, it'll remain to see. You're talking market share. So much of that market share that Bud Light enjoys and is enjoyed for several decades is with male Hispanics.
Yeah, I was going to say
white working class males. So that demographic, which is some of that demographic that you see now, reacting forcefully, the Kid Rocks of the world and Travis Tritts of the world and whomever, it'll remain to see, if you're able to sustain that long term, or if it's just most people aren't paying attention, most people aren't going to care. This guy's more of a comedian. He's an influencer for whatever he is. And the core constituency of Bud Light, we're going to make sure that from a marketing perspective, we're going to protect that and grow that.
Well,
so
I mean,
who knows what their plan is? But
we may, it may be that the average Bud Light drinker doesn't even know this exists.
Exactly.
Because they don't follow this on Instagram or Twitter or,
But the fact that it's blowing up all over Facebook, all over Instagram, everywhere, we'll see.
Yeah. Because, Pride Week makes some sense, or Pride Month, whatever. That's a pretty decent sized market.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And very loyal.
Yeah. But the trans market has got to be pretty damn small.
It's a little different.
A little different.
A little different, yeah.
Oh, boy. How did we get on that tangent?
Well,
we were talking
about
Kid
Trump.
Rock.
Well,
You brought this up.
Kid Rock is a Trump supporter.
That's true. Is he still?
I believe so. I probably.
All right.
Even more so.
Well, at this point, Trump supporters, there's probably more Trump supporters now than there have been in the past because the Democrats have overreached again. Thanks a lot.
Well, though I think the entire get Trump, no matter what the cost mentality has been an overreach from the beginning, and we haven't seen anything like this in historical politics.
No,
we saw it to a certain extent with the Clintons, but the Clintons have been able to get away with pretty much everything they've done. This has been different. This has been a lot different.
Yeah. Do you think that there is some sense of long-term, like looking back at the Clinton, the Monica Lewinsky stuff and saying, we're going to get our due now.
Maybe.
We're going to pay them back.
Yeah,
the irony here is
the irony is that the Clintons were at Trump's wedding. And they were very, very close friends.
But even more ironic than that, one of the leading never Trumpers was one of the main drivers behind the Monica Lewinsky thing, and that is George Conway.
The Lincoln Project. Don't get me started.
George Conway was a major player.
Yeah.
In going after Clinton.
I still don't understand how Kellyanne Conway and George Conway are still married.
They're not.
They're not.
They're getting divorced.
Oh, they are?
Yeah.
Finally.
Yeah.
Because I've never understood how she can be so loyal to the president, to Trump on one hand, and her husband is doing what he's doing with the Lincoln Project.
They've announced that they're getting divorced.
All right, well, that's news.
They'd like us to respect their privacy, which we'll do. I don't know anything else. I just know that they're getting divorced.
Okay. Well,
Godspeed.
That's not good. Divorce is not good. We don't wish that on anybody.
It sucks for anybody.
We don't wish that on anybody.
Yeah.
But that had to have been difficult.
Well, and it's, look, I'm
She's
of the
special
opinion,
assistant to the president, and her husband is starting an organization to bring him down.
Right. That has to be.
How does that work?
Strange. I am, having been divorced, I am of the belief that if you're going to get divorced, just get it done. Don't drag it out.
It seems like this has been like the long goodbye.
It's been a long goodbye. When you know it's done, just get it done, because dragging it is not helpful for anybody.
Well, if I can interject, the sad thing about the Lincoln Project actually was the idea that, okay, we're going to challenge Trump. Okay, fine, but now it's become like this anti-Republican, anti-conservative.
It's not just
thing.
Trump. It's not Trump. They've lost their. They've gotten their eye off the ball.
Well,
pretty significantly.
It's because they've had all these big. Big Democrats like David Geffen and others give them so much money that they don't know what to do with it, so they've become this anti-conservative.
You have former Republican operatives who have become Democrat operatives.
And they all used to work for John McCain.
Number of them. Yeah.
A good chunk of them,
Yeah.
unfortunately. Wow, we've ranted.
Whew, wow.
We've gone from Trump to Dylan Mulvaney to Kid Rock to...
Well, we went Kid Rock to Dylan. That's how we got to Dylan Mulvaney.
Well, I mean,
thank you very much.
Maybe he'll blow up more Bud Light. Who
Okay.
knows?
All right. Well, dump out your Bud Light if you're so inclined.
If you're
Or
so
drink it.
inclined, or drink it. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. It's all... if you're talking about it, you're winning.
Well,
You know,
maybe that's
and that's
their
another thing
thinking.
I was thinking about earlier today. I go, gosh, we're all talking about it. Everyone's like, kind of getting in their ideas about it. They're winning because they're leading the PR.
Maybe.
So,
Well, I'll be very interested to see.
so whoever you are, no matter what, make it a Bud Light.
You can probably get access to this. In a month, I want to see what sales numbers look like for Bud Light.
Oh, well, Bud Light has continuously declined over the last decade or so. The number 2 beer in America, you know what it is?
What?
Michelob Ultra. Based on the latest figures, it surpassed Coors Light. It surpassed Coors and
Well,
Budweiser.
what's number 1?
Bud Light's still number 1.
Oh, okay.
By about a 20-point margin.
But it used to be 4.
It used to be like by 4 to 1.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So
All right. Well, let's see if
well,
Michelob Ultra takes the lead.
because nobody knows.
Nobody knows. All righty. Well, thanks for listening, folks.
God bless you. Make it a Bud Light.
We'll talk to you later.